Good afternoon. We done got people on here. What up, guys? Jason Guyman here with PressureWashHelp.com or KingofPressureWashing.com. Either which one will take you there. So tonight I have a PE teacher that is actually retired this spring. He retired in what was it? Well, you probably retired about Rona 20 February, March. March of 2020, but his actual retirement wasn't until after.
What up, guys? Jason Guyman here with PressureWashHelp.com or KingofPressureWashing.com.
So,
Pressure Wash.
Tell me, who are you and where are you from and all that kind of stuff.
Tonight, I have a PE teacher that is actually retired this spring. He retired in, what was it?
Hang on, Jason. Let me. I just got to
retired about Rona. February, March of 2020, but it's actually retirement. What up, guys?
Just keep talking there.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jason. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead and ask me that again. I'm sorry. I think I have it straight now.
All right. Why is it's back feeding on me here? All right, so let's try this again. Tell me who you are and where you're from and all that kind of stuff again. One more time. Sorry.
That's all right, Jason. Hello, everybody. My name's Al Bianco. I live here in Fairborn, Ohio. Just got done retiring in May as a school teacher after 33 years. Have owned a deck restoration business, for a summer job. A lot of us teachers, we have summer jobs. So I have owned a deck cleaning and painting and restaining and restoration business for over 25 years. And then last couple years, I started to get into the soft wash business.
So what did you do before this? What was your full-time job? What did you do as your full-time career of a job?
Well, as we said before, I was a school teacher for 33 years.
Restoration business. So a PE teacher. So everybody loves their PE teacher, right? Nobody don't like their PE teacher. Is that correct?
Well, we all have those. We all have those one few in the class, but I think for the most part, everybody likes gym class.
And was you in high school or was you in middle school?
I taught 25 years in high school, and I finished my career at the middle school level.
And which of the two did you like better, high school or middle school?
High school much better.
So
especially let's just say high school much better.
Yeah, because the middle school kids, they're just hitting that age. They don't know what their hormones are going every which way, and they don't know what they want, do they?
Yeah, that's a truth. So that's
something else. So what made you start to do a? How long you been doing decks? You've been doing decks for how many years now?
Over 25 years I've been doing decks. So, of course, if you do decks, when we mean do decks, we restore them. So we take old beat-up decks, take a pressure washer to them, paint them, stain them, whatever they want. So I've always had a pressure washer in my hands. I remember renting one when I first got married, 25, 30 years ago. And I remember how this is when I didn't even know what a pressure washer was. I remember how they could just take this brown fence, this old wooden gray fence, and I could make it, pull it right back to its original color. So I started to think back then, I said, there's got to be a market out there for this. There's got to be a market. So I started to do decks, I do for like I said, over 25 years I've been doing restoring outdoor decks. So as we know, or if you don't know, that's work, fellas. That's hard work.
That is hard work.
So the last couple of years, and don't get me wrong, the money is amazing. The money is great. The last couple of years, I developed a soft wash, pressure washing business, and I'm glad I did it because it's the best thing I ever did.
Why did you start doing decks way back when? Was it to help supplement the teacher income or just to give you something to do in the summertime, or?
It was to help supplement the teacher income. As you guys know, we're not paid the best, especially if you're a young teacher in the beginning. You're at the, young totem pole, you're at the bottom of the pay scale. So it does, that's what I did it for. So
gotcha.
Plus, there was a market. I said, okay. And, I always did it. And what happened for me, Jason, was, anyways, we'll finish that later. Go ahead and keep asking your questions, brother.
No, you're fine, dude. That we can, like I said, we'll just talk just kind of like this, and we'll kind of go. So what is the thing that really drives you to keep pushing to keep growing your business as a pressure washer and company and stuff, especially now that you're retired from the school teacher side of things?
What drives me is the market that's out there that's available. Okay. So whenever I get in a vehicle and I go anywhere, no matter where I drive, all I do is I see stuff. It's like I see buildings, I see houses, I see concrete, I see different things. It's like, you know what? Our company has a product where we can service them. We can service them. So, and that's why I do it. And I just love I enjoy it where you can take something that doesn't look very nice, with a little bit of chemicals and a little bit of soft wash if you need it, a little bit of pressure wash if you need it. You can make something look brand new again. So
some of you may not know or remember, but I had Al on a couple. Well, he wasn't actually on the live. He's on one of my videos or two, and his whole trailer is on my. I did a whole video series of his pressure washing trailer. He called me up. It was probably February, Marchish sometime, and he's like, Jason, I need you to build this thing because I'm a PE teacher. I think you said you were a dumbass PE teacher and don't know how to build it. And so
I am.
So I am. I got him all together, and then he finally come down, picked it up, and has a nice little unit. Again, there's a whole video series on my channel for this here, and so it's a good gig. Tell him, let's see. So I got somebody, I'm gonna read this here. Tell him to contact me. I teach PE at a high school in my area and run a full-time successful pressure washing business. I think he does too. So he called me up and he's like, Jason, I need this trailer rig. And this was before you really started soft washing this year a lot. Instead of he bought him what was you working out before you got your little van thing?
And this is going to be good for you young guys because I did it for many, many years. I would take it, and I was thinking about that today. I would take that pressure washer. It's nothing but a nominal rig, 4 gallon per minute. I think 33,000, maybe 3,500 psi. I would pick that thing up each and every time, put it in my Equinox. I'd have these two sets of high pressure cord I'd throw in there. I'd have my 2 sets of garden hose I'd throw in there. Gas tank, everything else. It's just, and I can't believe I did it. But you know what? You can still do it. You can still do that. You can still do that same way, downstreaming it out of a 5 gallon bucket. You can still do it, and you can still make a ton of money.
Now, how long did that take you versus having your whole trailer set up? How much time did that knock off by having everything pre-set up and everything?
It's the total game changer is what it is. It's the total game changer. The way Jason designed my equipment, okay, all the reels are on the curbside, okay. So when I pull up that rig, all I have to do is pull out each reel. Usually I'm just pulling out a high pressure wheel and a garden hose reel. If I had to have a house job, then I'll be pulling out the chemical line reel. So it's just perfect. It just cuts the time in half. Just cuts it in half.
So it takes a 3 or 4 hour drive and puts it in about an hour and a half, doesn't it?
Yes, sir. There's no doubt about it. And then when you get home, hey Jason, when you get home, guess what?
You're not tired.
No, I'm tired anyways. I'm always going to be tired.
Well, that's because you're old.
When I get home, I don't have to take all the stuff out of the vehicle and put the painting supplies and the deck job stuff back in the Equinox, right? Because now that goes into the cargo van, the new minivan I got this winter, right? So it's a total different game. It's just a total different system I'm using right now.
Yes, and what is with that being said, how has that changed from money wise bringing in per year versus what you did before? Obviously, the reason why I'm hitting this is the upsells and all that kind of thing. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I'll explain it like this. I always did decks. So I've done decks for, like I said, over 25 years. There's a lot of money you can make in doing decks. If you've done deck work before, you know that's really, really, let's just cut to the chase. That's bitch work. It's hard work. Nobody likes to do it. It's 95 degrees out there. You're sucking in those fumes. Okay. Nobody so anyway, so I started to think about this soft washing because I've been watching it for a while. Okay. I've been watching it on YouTube and I'm thinking, I think this is something I could do. I think this is something that I can incorporate into my business. And so, I'll give you, here's a perfect example. Do you know how I used to clean green algae off 2-story roofs? I would take a 24-foot extension pole, okay, with high pressure, okay, and try to sit there, okay, after an hour and a half doing one side, okay. When I'm done, you talk about a weight training workout, you talk about a workout, okay. So I think, I got, the dummy, remember I told you, dumb gym teacher. I said, hey, let's try this chemical stuff they're talking about. And then I was like, what is a downstream injector? And I've always, I've gone through probably 10 pressure washers over all the years. So I find, and I've always had one because I always buy quality pressure washers. Everyone's had a downstream injector. I never knew what they were used before. So I said, let me try it. Boom. And then they said, okay, well, you got to have a special tip. Okay, you got to have a special orifice size hole where you're going to be able to get that chemical out. A regular pressure washer tip's not going to work.
Right.
So I said, oh, okay, well, I'm starting to, and I keep going over YouTube and Googling stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, this is called a J-rod. I don't know what a J-rod is. Next thing I know, I can take this stuff up and shoot it 40 feet up in the air. So, and the work, let's be real, Jason. I 10 times rather house wash any day over a deck or any of that other stuff. Okay.
I agree 100%.
I would be perfectly comfortable if every job I had was nothing more than a house wash. And I told you about my roof system now. I don't even have a problem with roofs now. I don't even have, if I could do a house wash every day, and if I want to throw in their concrete, okay, it's going to be high because I don't like doing concrete either, then you know what? I could do that every day.
So I think so we haven't got to this part of the story, but there is somebody that is on this live tonight that's watching. So tell me who your two helpers are. Well, I know you got more helpers than that, but tell me who your two helpers are because actually we have one on Allie's on here tonight.
Oh, my daughter is? Oh, okay. I didn't know that, Allie. Well, here's my deal. Hey, Jason, let me explain this to you. So, and this is kind of a blessing, but they probably don't think so because all I do is bitch at them on the job. I'm screaming at them. I used to be a coach, football coach. Played football in college. So I got that little mentality. And, when they're with me on the job, to me, when I go to a job, it's kind of like going into a football game. Okay. And so I can get kind of like, I don't even want to say it. So I'm blessed that this summer, because my daughter who just graduated from UC, they had to postpone her employment. She got employed by a company in Boston, Massachusetts. So they delayed that process. So she was able to work with me all summer. And my daughter, Ella, who plays soccer at Ohio University, she was able to work with me all summer. So it was great. And they learn now. They know. I guarantee you both of them can go to any house and do a roof wash, a house wash, and a concrete wash, no problem at all. Guarantee it.
So Allie asked the question, how does he go about training his employees? Is it the beating style?
It is. We'll call it the psychological beating style. Let's just say that. That's pretty good.
So but that is pretty cool to bring your daughters in and to help you out and all that kind of stuff. And the stories that I always like you tell me is how your daughters think it's amazing how you get $1,500 for 1 hour's worth of work. So,
yeah, and numerous. So yeah, let's give you a couple Let's give you a couple. Since Allie's on here and she's going to be a smart ass, I'm going to give her a little bit of work. Okay. So I can remember early in the summer. We did our little flyers. I'd get on my Segway. I'd put my little cards out. Okay, and I remember we got this job, and it was it was normal, typical just a four-sided house wash. Okay, so all you're going to do is get all the organic off on the four sides, gutters included. Okay, no roof. So and the lady charged me $500. Right, and I mean that's what I charge a lady. And we were there for probably an hour and maybe 20 minutes, maybe, tops. And I remember getting in the car, and I remember Allie saying, "Hey, Dad." I said, "What's up?" "What's wrong with that lady?" I said, "What do you mean?" "She just gave you $500 to do this." I said, "That's how it works, honey." I said, but you have to understand, this is what I tried to explain to Allie, and I tried to explain to a lot of other people. There's a reason why she's paying me $500. There's a knowledge that I know, okay? There's things that I can do. There's a service that I can provide her without killing any of her vegetation or anything like that, where she can't get otherwhere. And if she does, then she's probably going to pay that kind of price. So, and that's what I try to tell my daughters. I said, it's not so much how much I charge them. It's the knowledge that I can bring there to get the job done to their satisfaction.
Well, and it's all about what I've always talked about, too, is it's about finding the right customers, the customers that will open their wallet and pay. It's about finding the customers. It's not about finding the $99 customers, because we don't want those customers. We want the $400 and $500, the $1,000 customers. And this was something that I had to work on Al quite a bit this year, is Al was cheap. When I talked to him back in the spring, I'm like, "How much you charging for deck cleaning?" He's like, $2 a square foot. And I said, "You're crazy. You are crazy." "No, dude, you can't." Just like how he's talking over here. And I'm like, "Dude, you got to be at least $5, $6 a foot." "Nah, you can't get that out of it." So now that he's up to $5 and $6 a foot, now he's making some good money. That's how you grow your business. This is how we can go from not being able to afford to do marketing to having money to pay people to do it. Plus, it also allows us to do marketing and to grow our business and the things that we need to do to move forward. He's talking about getting another rig or upgrading his rig to an 8-gallon a minute. You can't do that when we're the $99 guy. And in pricing, we have to be able to get to that next level, and the only way we can do it is to get those $500 house washes on an hour and a half job. Is that not correct there, Mr. Al?
That is correct. Are there jobs that might take a little bit longer? Yeah, but when it's all said and done, if you can get in and out on a house in an hour and a half and make $500, that's pretty amazing to me.
Did you make that as a school teacher?
A week.
All right, so tell me some ways that you do to get customers. How do you do your marketing to get customers?
Well, and that's a great question, Jason. I have a little bit of an advantage over the next guy, okay? And I'm just going to tell you the real quick. I have an advantage over the next guy because I've been doing these decks for years. So I've been, I put my deck work out there on Facebook, and people see that. And so, like I said, I've been teaching for 33 years. So, it's all about networking, that big network that we have around us. So, excuse me. One of the best ways that I have found, not only by Facebook, is by using one of these postcards, okay? And then you just go to your local printer, print them up, right? I'm just give you a marketing strategy. You got a little postcard here, okay, and you got your business name, yada, yada. Get a little bit of computer code right there on there, okay? All they do is take a shot of that, boom. It goes right to Al's Hydro Wash. They can see all the amazing work And that's just one way. So you want to go door to door? Yeah, you could do that. Okay. I want to give you a heads up. And this is from the US Postal Service. Okay. When you go to mailbox, if you're doing hand deliveries, don't think that you can put it outside their mailbox, because you can't. You can't put it in the flag. Of course, you can't put it in the mailbox. If they have a slot underneath their mailbox for a newspaper thing like people do, then you can do that. Otherwise, you can't do that. Okay, this is just from the postmaster. Or you're going to get calls like I did. But there's a better way to do that. Instead of going door to door, you have to go to what we call the U.S. Postal Service direct mail. So I could take these flyers right here. I can go to the U.S. Postal Service, whichever city I want to deliver them to. I want to say these are 500 homes. These are the exact 500 homes I want. Boom, that's all I want to go to. Boom, goes right just to them. So I'm not going to. So remember, my target is, like you said earlier, Jason, it's all about the type of client that we want. Okay. I want my client way up here. Okay. So I'm going to target those homes. So that's just one way. You know?
So one thing, somebody asked a question, actually, she put, ask him who's his marketing manager. Marketing is everything. So Allie put that. But since Allie's on here, I'm going to give you some advice, because I told your dad this the other day, and that way you can maybe help him out, and this would really help out and grow things. And so the thing that I'm going to use is, Al has a network of people. He's been in the school systems for 30 years. A lot of his students have well-off jobs. You know, you wasn't in a very poor neighborhood school. You were in a nice neighborhood school. So a lot of the kids there got out, have families, they have nice paying jobs. And to be honest, this is probably something that you could probably do to really grow your business. And this is just one way. And obviously Facebook is one, but this is LinkedIn. LinkedIn could be a great resource for you. What I would do is start going and finding a lot of those kids that you had in school, and I would start following them and liking them. And reason why I would do that is because you figure 30 years ago, some of those kids, they're in their 40s now. You know, they could be in their 40s at this point, or even maybe early. You know, they're probably in their 40s. And so with that said, is now we can start you getting them people to do it, because we have a network of people at this point that we can go out there and start posting into LinkedIn every once in a while, you know, once a week, just kind of like, because see, one thing that Al does that is very good is he posts a lot in Facebook. And so Facebook is a great thing. So those videos that you're posting on Facebook, we can go ahead and post them in LinkedIn. And then when we do that, that is going to help that algorithm fly around there, and more people are going to see your stuff. So, because in marketing, it's all about touches. It's not about one door hanger. It's not about one sign. It's about getting several touches in there. So where you have a lot of people in your network, a lot of people don't have that. You figure 30 years, how on average, how many students did you see in a year?
I don't know, 500, 600.
So you got 500 people that know you per year, times that by 30 years. That's a large network. And again, it's not like you're the English teacher that everybody hates, or there's only a very small part of that, or you're not the history teacher that is boring. You were the PE teacher. You know, people looked at PE as usually the screw off hour, you know, and so that's kind of what they are looking for. And so not only that, how many people have you coached over the years? You know, I mean, when you really think about as a childhood memory, you don't think about PE and that. You think about that one coach that may have touched my life. You know, that one moment that coach did something for me, and that right there has taken me to the next level, or that was my turning point. You know, I was doing this and this coach said something, and went from there, it made me turn and go there. So when we have this network of people, then we can sit there and work that out. And if I would be a betting man that you have a lot of students that either A, own their own business, or B, they're in a spot that they can get you more work, of apartment complex. Who knows what could come out of that? So if I was you, I would really work on my LinkedIn network, and I would start hitting all those kids that you have touched through all those years. Does that make sense?
Hey, Jason.
Yep.
Hey, to expand on that expand on your comment right now. Tomorrow morning, you talk about ex-students, okay? You talk about, all the networking and all that. My advantage is, like you just said, like you just went over all the people that I've had, all the people that I may or may have not impacted their lives. Tomorrow morning, I get to start on a $10,000 job from a student that I had that's 40 years old, who I coached in football, who played football at Michigan State University, okay? So, and this is a perfect example. It's a perfect example. I mean, when you talk, that's a perfect example. What's he do? He's a financial advisor. What's his wife do? She's an attorney. I mean, it's a perfect example.
And so, what does his friends do? What does his friends do? Most of his friends probably ain't poor. They're probably very well off. And you get into that network of people, guess what? When they ask who can I use, he's going to say my old PE teacher. He does that stuff. He'll come clean it right up for you.
Hey Jason, I'm getting ready to start on his deck tomorrow. Actually, we're going to do the pavers tomorrow. It's another upsell job, but we're going to do his deck starting in the middle of this week. Pavers tomorrow, but I think he's going to go with the exact same color that I redid my deck out here, and it's a slate black. But what you have to understand, folks, is he has 5 big, huge, or good-sized decks, okay? And so I think he's going to go with that slate black. But perfect example, though, Jason. Ex-student of mine, attorney, lives in $1 million home on a lake. He has friends, just keeps going out like that, just.
Yep, and that's the beauty of networking. That right there, a lot of times I'm not a big fan of kind of just the word of mouth, but that's really not just the word of mouth. You're actually networking, and your network, I've heard it several times of your net worth is the size of your network. If you have a large network, you will have usually a large size of net worth. And that is so true, because that is one thing that, when we're trying to grow our pressure washing business, it's all about knowing that one person, or getting to find out building relationships. When we build relationships and we're finding those people that we need to find, then that's when we can really blow up our business and get it to the next level. A lot of people think, oh, I can't do that. Well, get out there and get going. You got to get going. You got to take action. If you don't ever take action, you won't ever get action.
Hey, Jason, that's a great point. But, when you talk about networking, I'm going to give you another example of how it works, okay? This is an example about my little smart-ass daughter I don't know if she's still on here watching or not, but my little smart-ass daughter worked at Chick-fil-A for 4 years in high school, just like millions of other kids over, worked at Chick-fil-A, great company to work for, yada, yada. So I went by there, like, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago, to grab a sandwich. And, of course, like everywhere I go, I'm looking at, that's dirty. I need to clean that. That's dirty. So anyways, I'm going through their drive-through, and I see their dirty pavers or yada, yada. So anyways, I come home. I start to think about it. I said, that company, they need my service. So I remember my daughters, because my son worked there as well for a little bit until he got fired. Or not making chicken salad when he should have in the kitchen. Anyways, so my daughter tells me a little bit about the owner, okay? And so I asked her to draw me up a nice little proposal, because my daughter's really smart. She just graduated from University of Cincinnati with a business analytic degree. And so she can write that stuff down really well. Okay, I can't really. I could probably talk it to you, but I can't really do it like that. So she writes this beautiful proposal up, and the guy ends up accepting it. And we end up starting the job today. I never would have thought a year ago I'd be doing a Chick-fil-A restaurant, and then I get to do it once a month forever until I blow up the contract, which I'm not, because my work's going to be so amazing. So I just, but you talk about networking. This is just one aspect of it. my networking, my daughter, networking, worked at Chick-fil-A, networking, knows the owner, okay, has a good relationship with the owner. So it's all about, and that's just one little example of what networking is.
Yep, and that's the important part of it, and that's how you can get, who's to say you can't get other Chick-fil-A's and or any other things, and that's the thing, a lot of times when we get in with business owners, most business owners are going to be friends with, guess what, other business owners.
Right.
That's because most smart business owners, it's the saying, you're like the 5 people you're around. So, if you're a smart business person, you're not going to be around 5 dumb people. You want to be around 5 smarter people than you. So then that way you get to that next level.
Exactly.
All right. So we talked about that. So tell me one thing that you failed in your business, and tell me the 3 things that you learned from that failure.
One thing I failed. One thing.
I know what you failed.
Oh, your prices.
No, you got one better than that. What happens when you put crap in your chemical tank you ain't supposed to put in there?
Yeah. I'll tell you this story real good. It's a good story. So, hey, we all know what SH is. So, I have my nice little rig that Jason put together, and he did a beautiful job. And so I've been using it fine, It's a 50-gallon chemical tank. So I remember coming home from a job one day. Normally, back it up into my garage. I don't keep it outside, so I back it up in the garage. And I noticed that there was like this brown, like the first, how it looks like that. I don't want to say like almost like that fluorescent, almost like this color, almost like that color. You know how chlorine looks in the tank. But I see this layer of brown up there. I'm like, what is that? What's going on there? And so I don't really think about it much. So I go in the house. I mess around in the house for a few minutes. I come back out into the garage, and I said, what the hell is going on? Okay, I see these fumes coming out, right? My little valves popped, right? That means there's fumes coming. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? And so what I had was some type of terrible chemical reaction that scared the shit out of me. Because if you've ever had this happen before, okay, it would be like taking a quarter, take a roll of pennies and throw them in a chlorine tank and see what happens. Anyways, the chemical reaction I had really, really scared me, because what it did is I actually looked down in there and I'm watching chlorine start to boil. Okay, I don't know exactly how, and I had this happen to me twice, and I still don't know. So the only thing that I could think of was everybody uses a surfactant just like I do, but I put in this extra thing called a lemon, like a lemon scent type of thing. And so my only thing is that's the only thing I could think of. Or it was the Jason, we talked about this before. Or it was I used that chlorine, what do you call it? Remover, or not remover, neutralizer.
Neutralizer. I don't think it was that, because I think the second time you didn't use that. I think because it was the lemon oil that you put in. I think it was
that lemon extract stuff.
Yeah, I think it was lemon oil that you put in there, and I think that's what caused it.
I haven't had a problem with it. You shouldn't. You should be able to put as much surfactant as you want in there. You shouldn't have a problem. So
what are some things that you learned about putting the wrong crap in the chemical tank?
What are some things that I learned? Don't do them. Don't do them, because what will happen is you could have a serious problem where, like I did, like I'm watching my chemical tank. You could not even touch the chemical tank on the outside with your hands. It was so hot. It even expanded. Okay. It even expanded. I'm watching this. So what are you going to do? It's in the garage. I don't want to hook it up to my trailer because I don't want to have this thing blow up right here while I'm here. So all I do is try to get my ass to another spigot, pull a hose to it, stick it down into the tank, put goggles on, gloves on, stick it in the tank, and get the hell out of there. And just let it drain out like I did. So, and thank God I'm on a hill. And so my driveway or my garage is slanted. Had no problem.
Yeah, he called me on that one, and he's like, Jason, something's wrong. He's like, I can't even get out in my garage. He's like, it's like fuming and stuff. And I'm like, first thing I always ask is, what did you put in your tank? And this goes back to, guys, that you got to remember that we are dealing with chemicals, and chemicals are very dangerous. And so we have to make sure that, we are being careful with chemicals, because chemicals is something that, it can be very, very dangerous. And I mean, even what he had going on, one good inhale of that could cause you to go down. And, it's not unlikely at all. I mean, if that was a sealed container, it would have blew up. If it didn't vent, it would have blew up. And that's just the fact of it. That when it's off gassing that much, it's going to cause it to, if it was enclosed and it was in a non-sealed thing, it would cause it to blow up, and it is not pretty. He's like, I used a helper one time and asked him to fill my bucket up for downstream. He used F9 bark as surfactant. Haven't been a helper since. Yeah, exactly. It can be very dangerous. It is something that you can blow up stuff. It's going to off gas. It can give you, like I say, it'll take your breath away if you're not careful. So that is definitely something that you have to watch and to be careful with. So definitely be careful with that.
Yes, sir.
So in business, a lot of times we have to deal with mindset, and we have to deal with fears and overcoming those fears. And some of our fears can be from, I would never pay that, that fear of getting customers, fear of maybe starting, can I get business? Has there been any fear that you've had to overcome in the last year or two of doing pressure washing and stuff?
This is going to sound, for a lot of you guys that have been in this business for a long while, this is going to sound really, how do I say this? I don't know, elementary or something. Jason, have we spoken before? I have a problem with heights. Okay. I mean, I can't get off the ground 10 feet and I start pissing down my pants. Right. So what I would always do is this: if I ever whenever I do a roof estimate, okay, it's going to be high anyways, okay, just because of all the precautions that you have to take. So I even add an additional cost on there is because I'm paying somebody to get up on that roof. I'm not going to do that myself. Okay? I'm just not putting myself in that position. I'm not doing it. So that's just me. And so I don't have a problem with paying a roofer or somebody else couple $100, go up there for an hour and a half and do it. What I have found out is, for the most part, 99% of the roofs I can hit from the ground. Okay, I mean, honestly, I mean, the way you design my system, the way you design my gas-driven chemical pump, the way it can shoot 45, 50 feet, the way you've designed it, I got no problem. So you talk about a fear that's I'm getting over, that's one of them. So we did this house the other day, and I just did it from the ground. And I just did it by myself, and I didn't have to pay somebody else $200 an hour to get up there, because that's what I was paying them, because I think that's what it's worth. If I'm gonna pay somebody to put their lives in danger to get up on a roof, okay, with slippery suds up there, then I don't have a problem with paying them that. But if I can save that money and do it by myself from the ground, hey, are there certain roofs where there's no doubt I'm going to have to pay somebody to get up there? Of course. Most of them, 90% of them, I can hit from the ground. So that's a fear I've gotten over.
You might have to send Allie up, is what you might have to start doing.
Allie's too chicken shit. She's like her dad.
Somebody put on here, they taught you in middle school not to mix acids and bases. Then he put, they taught you how to whip that your way, not to stick your head in a bucket in the middle school.
Yeah.
But again, this is something that, it is definitely something you got to be careful of. Whether you're afraid of heights, there is ways to get around it. A lot of times we have mental blocks, or we have fears that, our mind can do amazing things and it can do terrible things with us. It can tell you that you can't do this, you can't do that. And, if we allow that to happen, go ahead.
Hey, Jason, here's a good, you talk about little mind games when we're talking about mind games. And I was telling that I have a young entrepreneur here in Xenia, Ohio, that I'm working with. A nice African American ex athlete of mine, has a college degree. But you talk about your mind games and stuff like that. When I see these, and I see them like every day, I see new ones all over the place when I'm driving around. Every corner, power washing, power washing, power washing. It's like, and when I remember when I was him, and he's just getting into the business, and I'm trying to help him along. I remember when I was him, I'd get discouraged, and I see that shit, and almost like, why am I doing this? Look at all these guys. You don't have to think like that. People don't think like that, okay? All you have to do is have a better product than everybody else. And when you have a better product than everybody else, then the business will come your way. Don't get, and then I tell Tyler the same thing. I say, hey, Tyler, how many painters are out there in the world? Hundreds. They're all making money. How many guys that cut grass out there, have lawn care companies making money? Hundreds. It's no different. It's no different. So don't get discouraged just because you see these signs everywhere, even though because I remember I used to feel that same thing. It's like, damn, why am I even doing this? Look at all these guys. There's too many out here. It's like, I can't compete with these guys. Yes, you can. Your work is going to be better than theirs,
A lot of times, if you
your word is going to be better than theirs. Your work's going to be better than theirs. If you screw up, come back and fix it.
A lot of times, if you just answer your phone, will get you more work than anything.
Simple business process.
Do
a good job.
The best thing I like doing is finding all these signs and start calling them, and then just see how many people actually answer their phone or get a call back.
Yeah, right. I saw the funny one I saw the other day, Jason. I keep seeing it on Facebook. I'm not mentioning any names. It must be around my local community. But I'm not saying any names. And it's a nice size, big ass driveway, $99. I'm thinking, okay, well, unless I'm thinking he's going to $99. It's $99, and he has the whole driveway right there. So I'm thinking unless you have a 16 gallon per minute machine, okay? Unless you have a 16 gallon minute per machine, no, I would not even. No, it's like no, that's not even going to happen. So my guess is he does that. My guess is he does that and he tries to upsell him once he gets in. I don't know.
So Dan put, answer the phone. We have a broken window and it took 3 companies to give us 1 quote. And that's true, guys. Not just answering the phone, but following up with our customers. And that's a matter of following up rather to see if they want to be able to get it, or maybe need to follow up after too, just to make sure they're happy. Because you know what? It's all about the little things going along our sales journey of buying pressure washing. And what the little things will add up is to a 5-star review. And what a 5-star review will add up to is more jobs. Because when we try to work to get that 5-star review from the very beginning, and we do all the little things, we answer the phone, we give them a quote in a timely, fast manner. It's not a week later that we give them a quote. We give them a quote either right then, email it right then, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it's on. The next day, we're following up. Another little thing. The next day, we are sending a text. The next day, once they get the job, we're telling them what we're going to do and go through the steps and processes of how it's going to happen and how to pay and all that kind of stuff. And that way, they're not like, well, what am I going to do? How do I got to do this? You're answering all the little questions as we set up this little journey through our sales journey. And that way, at the end, when we go to give them, and when they say to give a 5-star review, you don't have to tell them what to say. They're going to be like, Jason, Al did an amazing job. He kept us in the loop, and he did this, and he did that, and he did this, and he did that. And you don't have to sit there and say, will you give me, because they will do it automatically and work through that system. And so we really got to make sure that it's all about, at the end of the day, it's all about the little things. And so Al does a lot of decks and stuff. And decks are a pain in the tail for follow-up. I had one deck that it was about 4.5 feet off the ground, and it had freaking rock on the bottom of it. Well, some of the paint fell off and got on the bottom of it. And we had to go over there and buy new rock because we couldn't turn them over enough and put down new rock over top of it all. And and it was underneath there. But you know what? We ended up getting a 5-star review, and we got their neighbor's house and a friend of theirs house because we did what we needed to do to make that customer happy. So again, decks can be great money. Al's done over your career. How many decks have you done in your season of decks?
I can honestly say I've done hundreds of decks over the years. Hundreds.
So you've done hundreds of decks.
I remember the first one I did to the last one I did.
And I mean, I've had decks that we did them all pretty, and he picked the color out, and the wife didn't like the color.
Well, and thinking about hey, Jason, good topic right there on the color. Okay, people always want to ask the guy. They think I'm like the color expert. So I own a deck restoration business. I clean your deck, I paint your deck, the best anybody can do. But I can't pick the color out for you. You have to. So it's just like this couple that I'm getting ready to start on a $10,000 job tomorrow. They want me to pick them out of color. I said, I'm not going to do that. I said, you don't, I said, I will never do it. I've done it before. I will never do it again. So you have to pick out the color. Now, I will give them suggestions, but you have to pick out the color. So it's funny that you said that.
Because I went through see, this is one thing that Al does that is a good thing to do, that he posts pretty much every day on Facebook of the stuff he's done. And I went through some of them, and I'm like, that is the most god-ugly color. I would never pick that. But you know what? That's what some people want. So guess what? Right. That's what they get.
That's so true. That's why I stay out of it. I say, that's your decision. That's yours and your husband's or yours decision, not mine. Don't get me involved. Now, I'll give you recommendations, but that's it.
Jeremy, this is a good question right here. This is a good question I'm going to answer here for you. What do you think about the monthly property protection plan reoccurring revenue, taking care of all their needs throughout the year? I think it is a good idea. And the reason why I think that is a couple of reasons. One, especially because Dominant here is on here too, and I think he's trying to get this done, is if you can do several things, so like if you do the house wash, you can do once a year house wash, you can do some driveway concrete cleaning, and then if you really want to do it, you can get into 2 to 3 time gutter cleaning. So if you got if you're going to gutter clean either twice a year or 3 times a year. And when we do that, what we can do is then that way we can break it down into a monthly recurring revenue. And the good thing about that is obviously it's not a big chunk on their part, but they know that that's going to get done, and you're going to take care of all their exterior stuff cleaning wise, and it's going to be clean. And so it is something that for sure can work. And if you get that monthly reoccurring money up, then the beauty of that is once you do that, then you know where these people are, and you can kind of schedule them all at one time and bust them out. And the beauty of that is if you try to hire an employee, now we have reoccurring money every month that we know that we can cover these expenses, or if you have a certain expenses that we can cover, and that's how that can work for you. So that is definitely, and then anyone doing underground drain flushing, I haven't heard many people do on that. I would think
you call that jetting. They call that jetting.
Jetting. Yep.
I don't know what that is.
Yep. So, but and what do you? That's a good question. What do you use? Or do you? What are you using for like a CRM and keeping customers and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I don't know what that CRM mean. I don't know.
I knew that was going to get you. That's why I wanted to say it.
I don't know what a CRM is.
But wait, how much money are you making? Don't know what a CRM is. See, a lot of people go down these rabbit trails that you got to know what all these little shiny objects are, and it doesn't do you no good. You can make decent money and not have to worry about some of that stuff. So what a CRM is, a customer retention management system. And it kind of, like that. Basically, you use pen and paper, don't you?
What's that?
Pen and paper, right?
Yeah. But what I do on my big jobs, Jason, on my big jobs, like the job that I'm doing tomorrow. I kind of have a limit. If it's over $3,000, I'm putting it in digital invoice. Okay, simple to do. Okay, if it's under 3,000, I'm handwritten it. So just simple. If it's over 3,000, I'll itemize everything. If it's not, I'll itemize it. I just won't itemize it like I would on a typical digital invoice. So
right.
That's what I do. And guess who taught me this? My business analytical degree daughter, Alexandria Bianco.
Yeah, she probably could set you up a whole thing of a CRM, and actually she can make a lot of money off of it, to be honest. So
I'm gonna have her in there. I'm gonna have her look into that, because she's all about making money.
That could be worth a lot of money, and I can help her set something up if she needs it. So my CRM is a 99-cent notepad and my cell phone. So that's what Illinois Power Washing said. So yep, jetting for underground drains. I did a Facebook post, and it has turned into about a $20,000 this month. That's nice. So, I'm gonna look through some questions here. Tell me, if you was a new guy, what would you do, and how would you start out? What you would start with business wise?
The first thing that I would do, and I was telling this to my friend the other day, this my young ex-student I had at Zingham. I was telling him the other day, I said, the number one thing you can do is, instead of going out and spending $5,000 on equipment, which just would be like a nominal tiny little rig like mine, instead of doing that, spend $200 and go out and get some yard signs. Okay, go out and get some yard signs. Once you get the work lined up, then go ahead and invest in a little bit of money. Okay, so he already has a pressure washer now, which is perfect. He has a fourth, just like mine, a little tiny gay little 4 gallon per minute, 3,000 PSI. Okay, same kind of unit I got. I said, but what you got to do now is this. Now you have to go out and market that. You have to figure out how you're going to get this business in. So once you get the business in, I always tell the new guys, get the business in first, buy the equipment second. If you want to, go to Beaver Creek Rental, rent a pressure washer for $75 for the weekend. Make sure you got all your jobs lined up so you can use it the whole weekend. If you rent it on a Saturday, it doesn't have to be back on Monday because they close on Sunday, I think. So you got to be like that. That's how I started. I started just like that, same way. Start renting the equipment. I had to rent my first surface cleaner. I rented it.
Yep.
And then I end up buying it. I end up buying it from the rental agency I bought it from.
But wait a minute. I thought you had to have this big $20,000 trailer to make any money.
You can make money on right now. If you had $1,000 in your pocket right now, you can make money. Period. No doubt.
100%, 100%.
Now you'll be putting it in an Equinox. You'll be putting it in an Equinox every night, and you'll be hauling that shit in there every night. But you can do that. I almost called myself. I got to be careful.
I love Al. If you call him a little later at night, he gets wound up even more. So that's why I like calling him, just to.
I'm trying to be good right now, Jason. You know I'm trying to be good right now.
To stir him up and get him going. So. So tell me. So one thing that I always loved when you would tell me this is when I started getting on you about raising your pricing and telling me about raising your prices, and tell me what you always tell me. Actually, I want to get some likes on here. Give me some likes on this, so that way, and he'll tell you what you tell me, what you think about customers if they don't like it, of how you charge per job. That if you don't like it, I'm gonna keep raising my prices till they run me off the job.
Well, this goes back to I think it was, I don't know, January, February, whenever you were building my rig. Okay, I remember we were in your garage, we were talking, and I was telling you what I did for how much I charged for people for decks. I don't know what it was, $2, whatever it was. He says, man, you're charging way too low. He says, you need to up it up. So I remember, so I said, okay, this year, this is what I decide. Okay, this is what I'm going to take his advice. Okay. I don't like to do decks. If anybody, even though I can do a deck better than anybody in the Miami Valley, anybody in the Dayton area, I guarantee you, me and my crew can do a deck better than anybody. I don't like to do them. I despise doing them. So when I go on a deck job now, I'm thinking, I'm going to take Jason's advice. I'm going to say, you know what? Let's just jack this thing up. You know what? Let's just jack it up. And I go. Now I'm about $4 or $5, and you know what? It doesn't even bother me if I expect them when I get done to just laugh me off the property. 90% of the time, within an hour, when can you start? I'm like, oh shit. I don't like doing them. I don't like doing them. The money is amazing. Trust me. The money is amazing. I just don't like doing them. So, but I listen to Jason. I jack my prices up, and it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter. I don't get offended if I don't get the job. It doesn't mean that. I look at it as like this, people. I look at it like this. It's the same way when I coached, same way when my daughter plays soccer. You know, when I tell her to train, I said, listen, if you ain't training harder than anybody else, next one up. You're out there playing. If you ain't doing it, next one up. Same thing. It's the same thing. The same thing I treat it when I go on a house estimate or anything. Any estimate I give, hey, you don't want it? You're not my client? Next one up. You know, just the way I operate. So
absolutely. And so this is a good right here. He put Central Illinois Power Wash and said, I put out 25 signs on my motorcycle this morning. Tired as could be because he works. He's a fireman at night. Got a call at noon this afternoon and closed a $2,500 package by 2. Keep hustling even when you're exhausted. You know, go put out them, you know, like a 25. Think about that, guys. He put out 25 signs and made $2,500. I know how much those signs cost. You can buy 100 signs for. So he put out $75. He put out $75 worth of signs because they're about $3 a piece, and made $2,500 off of a package. And that's just one day. That's not to say that he might not get another 2-3 calls off that. You know, so again, don't sit there and say, well, I can't get no work. I can't get no work. No, but they don't work. Do you put them out? How often do you put them out? It's one of these things that you got to keep doing. And then it's not one that we just do one and done. You got to keep going, because you know what happens when we keep going? I know what Central Illinois firefighter or power washing has made, and he just started 3 months ago. He's done more than probably Al did for many years, all year long. You know, and it's one of those things that, you know, you sit there, you listen, and you take that information that I give you, and you go out there and you do it, and you will be able to save time, and you will have financial freedom like no other. If you sit there and complain and don't do nothing and to make it happen and don't do nothing, guess what happens? Nothing. You know,
yep, that's so true. And I'll tell you another thing about marketing too. Just talking about that, Jason, is, you know, even when we're really busy like we are right now, this is what I tend to do, is I tend to forget about marketing. So even though I got lined up work for 2 weeks, I tend to forget about it because I know what's going to happen next week. What you need to do is, the time when you're really super busy, even jack up the marketing even more, because what it's going to do is just going to push that window out more weeks, more work. Remember, we can only work until what? December, probably.
Right.
So that, you know, it's just and I fall into that trap, and just like I did, even though I got work lined up for the next 2 weeks, I already put in to my Minuteman Press guy, I need 1,000 more of these. I need 1,000 more of these. He'll have them to me. As a matter of fact, they're probably going to be ready tomorrow. Got to pick them up, and then in the middle of the week this week, when I take some time, I get home, I'll strategize certain neighborhoods. I'm going to go to the U.S. Postal Service, wherever that city is, Beaver Creek, Oakwood, Centerville, Bellbrook, big cities that have some money, and I'll find those neighborhoods. Bam, we're going to hit that. But then, you know what? I spent $200. No telling how many jobs I'll get.
So the Compassion Capitalist, what are you trying to close? I always like that 50 to 60% range is a good spot to be at. I don't know where you're at, Al, because it's probably hard to track when you're doing it on pen and paper. But
What are you talking about? Close. What you talking about? Let me hear
what?
that.
Well, how many? What's your close rate? So if you
Oh,
got
every time I go estimate,
every time your phone rings, how many? What's the percentage that you close it?
I would probably say about 80%, just
So that
because I
that
don't
means
have
you're
a
too
ton of
cheap.
calls. I don't have a ton of calls.
That means you're too cheap at that point. So you need to raise your prices some more. I'm gonna get on him some more there. Um,
Oh, I
um,
know.
so that is definitely something that it is good to be able to do. And somebody was asking a question about Eric put, I have a job tomorrow spraying SH on a sealed gas line to remove
I'm gonna tell
mold.
you. Wait, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back and refract the reason why your comment before was 80% was too low. The reason why it's 80% is because of my network is so good. Everything right now is like 90% referral based, Jason.
And
Hey,
whenever we're talking referral base, you won't probably get a higher close rate than that. You won't get it from Google, Facebook, none of that other stuff. When you have a referral, you will end up getting a higher close rate, and that is true. So, and you should, on that sealed gas line, you should be all right. I've done tanks and stuff, and I've never had an issue. The only thing is make sure, if it has valves or something, usually they're covered. But if the bleach get in them valves, they can sometimes corrode them up a little bit. So that's the only time I would worry about. Um, so I finally did my first set of signs yesterday and got my biggest job, 825. Been doing this a little over a month. That's cool. All right, so let's give some words of advice. I know you kind of said a little bit, but any last words of advice before we get off here?
for me, if you're a new guy, number one thing you should do: don't worry about the equipment. Don't worry about anything. You can get a tiny little pressure washer with a little downstream injector and do anything for the most part. Get your little surface cleaner. Don't spend a lot of money. Market. Put the yard signs out there. Put the yard signs out there. Wherever you can, put them out there. Once you get the business, and then once you start getting that business, maybe the first couple months, when you start getting some of that capital, then upgrade. That's my biggest thing. And don't be scared because there's so many people out there doing it. What you have to prove is you're better than everybody else. That's what I prove every day. I know for a fact nobody in the Dayton area can do a deck like me. I know for a fact I can clean a roof and a house wash and concrete just as good as anybody else. So that's
Yep.
my advice.
Awesome, guys. Again, if you want to learn any more things about pressure washing training, go to pressurewashhelp.com/training. There I go over everything. I just put out the in-person stuff. I am having a class up in Cleveland, Ohio for pressure washing, and I am going to have a class for Christmas lights. Christmas lights is just around the corner, so go check that out. That is limited spots. I'm only doing 10 per 10 per class, so that way I can do a lot of hands-on training. That way you get the hands-on training, so that way you will grow and learn your business and be able to get to that next step. It is going to be, I believe, August the 28th and 29th. You can either do one or the other. It'll be 2 days total, 1 day pressure wash and 1 day Christmas lights. Again, thanks for everybody watching, and we'll see you next week. Stay on, Al. I'm going to talk to you here.